Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. So I did find out ukuthi some of you like ukuthi ngikhulumela phansi, but actually kune problem encane that I have. That's why ngikhuluma kanje. Kodwa ke since you guys like it, you will be getting it until we are back to health, okay? So you guys listen. I did that story on Monday about Inkosi yaseMaswatini coming to KZN because phela vele intombi zethu KZN zenza dizi, the kings of Africa. Okay, so apparently he had sent abakongi there by Inkandla to negotiate. Well, it wasn't really negotiations because they already were bringing 10 cows. Okay, but bekunomcelo, and our former president Jacob Zuma phela, the father, was supposed to accept ilobola lengane yakhe. And things went left because for some reason he ended up walking out of the whole thing because he wasn't happy about the fact that the king was the one that wanted her daughter when he was under the impression that the son was the one that was going to take his daughter as the wife. Okay. Now, with that story that was written by the Sunday World, there was something in there that said something about Momcebo being there by Swaziland. It had been said that she was frequenting Swaziland already, and they were saying that the reason she was doing that is that she was already preparing to become the king's wife. Okay. Now, the question was, if she was already doing that, how come her father was not aware of that? And now, why is he shocked if that was already in the process? Okay. But guys, I was thinking about it and I thought, you know what? When you have many wives with many kids, you might not know, you know, on a given day, you might not know where your kids are, you know. Some are overseas, some are here, some are at varsity, some are getting married, some this, then you might not be able to keep track. Okay. You see me, I have kids. I know my daughter is there by varsity. I know my son is there by high school. He's probably on his way back now. Okay. And the last born is here in the house. It's very simple, you see. But if I had 15 husbands, for an example, I might not know where some of my kids are. In fact, I might even forget their names. So as much as I was confused about the situation of the president not knowing that their daughter was already preparing to become the king's wife, I was like, I guess it's possible if you have so many daughters, okay? You might not be able to keep track. So if you are thinking of polygamy, just know that in the future, you know, one of your kids might just be marrying, you know, some guy that you don't like, and you might not be aware of it because there are so many of your kids. Okay. So now, you guys, there are two parts of this story that I'm going to do. One is just the story that was written on Monday. Remember, Sunday will release that article on a Sunday, and then on Monday they're writing about Momcebo being over there in Swaziland already, being presented as the king's official girlfriend. And this event had already happened. You know, the story is written on Monday, but it had already happened. Okay, so which is a thing of, okay, Nomcebo is over there preparing to marry the king, but her family here doesn't know that. It's not making sense. So I'm just going to read this article. By the way, you guys, this article comes from Swaziland News. Okay, so listen, if you want to come over here and say, don't gossip about our king, listen, if you are gossiping about your own king, we are going to gossip about your king too. Okay. I was like, if they're allowed to talk about their king, then we should be allowed to talk about their king. You know what I mean? So, but if you are mad about what's written here, go over there by Swaziland News Online and tell them that you are mad. Okay. It's pointless to do it here because the story doesn't come from us. Okay. You know. Understand? Okay, so we'll do that part of the story. The second part is actually the part that is weird for me because there is another girl that is claiming that she was supposed to be wife number 16, because remember, Nomcebo is supposed to be wife number 16, but she ran away from that. It's a weird story, you guys, because I was under the impression that amasiko asemaswatini acishafane or ayafana nawamaZulu. I did not know that there was even a thing of marrying someone that you are blood related to. Tina guys amazulu ichilo lelo, it just doesn't happen. Okay, let's just say that I am over there by New York, okay, and I meet a guy, and the guy is like, hey sissy, I like you, what, and then and I'm like, baba owapi, and then he says ukuthi owakangcobo. I'm like, hey, no, my cousin. I give him a hug, and I give him a cousin hug, okay. And even if I ask him, and he says, Nigeria, that one is still my cousin. Okay? Understand what I'm saying? Tina nje, once nje, even if I don't know where you come from, the fact that you are of that surname, you are my relative. The next thing I'm bringing you to lunch at home, and my mother is going to hug you like you are her own son. Okay, that's how we do it. So Tina marrying your blood relative, it's not even looked down on. It does not happen. So I was shocked, you guys, that Kumaswati, it happens, okay? But maybe when you are a king, because you can do whatever. So let's do the first part, okay? So it says here, Momcebo Zuma, who's 21, the daughter to the former South African President Jacob Zuma, who is highly expected to marry Mswati, made her first public appearance as King's Lipovela on Monday. They say the King's Lipovela means that it's like the king's official girlfriend. Just before you become a wife, you become, a Lipovela. Okay, this was during the official opening of the 50 million Dibiyo chicken project. The relationship between the Eswatini monarch and Nomcebo Zuma was exclusively reported by the Swaziland News about 2 weeks ago, after the king sent the delegation to traditionalists to KwaZulu-Natal to present 10 cows to the Zuma family as per Kucela customary practice. Okay, listen, guys. I have to issue an apology for all of the bloggers of South Africa, because the fact that 2 weeks ago Nomcebo Zuma was announced as the King's Lipovela and we didn't know about it, it means that we are not doing what we're supposed to do, okay, which is report things like this to you, okay. I'm sorry about that. Kucela is the Swatini word, and in the context it means seeking permission from the elders or parents before marrying the daughter. And it's the same thing with Amazulu when they say uyocela, okay. Lipovela Nomcebo Zuma was standing next to Mswati's 15th wife, okay, Inkosikazi Lamashwama. She is highly expected to become the 16th wife, okay. This is the picture I will put here so that you can see Nomcebo is there. She looks okay, you guys. But the thing is, I don't know, you guys. I'm like, I wonder while she's standing, because there's a story of her having supposed to be the son's wife, not the king. So I'm like, with her standing there, does she know she's standing there as the king's Lipovela? Okay, does she know that's what she's doing? She's officially being announced as. You know what I mean? Okay, so I know I'm just asking a question. I'm not saying anything, you guys, because these things sometimes they happen, and then a few years later there is BBC with the documentary. Okay, there is somebody telling us, while I was standing there, I thought I was just a guest to the king's royal house. I didn't even know I was being announced as one of the wives, because Pella BBC is watching, and we can't blame the BBC, because you guys listen, our African leaders sometimes be doing shady stuff. Because if you are a 58-year-old man and you just decide to take a 21-year-old wife, of course the world is going to be looking at you side eye, okay. You know what I mean? Because they'll be thinking, if you can take a 21-year-old as your wife, do not even look at a 16-year-old as a potential wife. And for the world, that is not appropriate. You understand what I'm saying? So we can't blame about BBC. But for all we know, they're already working on some documentaries for some of our African leaders. So listen, you guys. So then the second story, so basically that story is indicating that Nomcebo is over there, assuming she knows what's happening around her, okay? She's over there already preparing to be a wife. So this is what I was asking on my other video, does it make a difference that Ubab Zuma is mad at this whole thing? Because if Nomcebo is already there, and she is an adult, she's 21, if she's already there saying yes to whatever it is that's going on there, does it matter what the former president is doing over here by South Africa, by KZN, by Inkandla? I angasnam. Now, you guys, the second story is a weird one because this is another girl that says, listen, I was supposed to be that 16th wife, but I was in my mind enough to run away to South Africa. Okay. So while we look at South Africa sometimes and think, you, this country, but a lot of people run here, and over here. They rescue themselves by running to South Africa. We are a place of safety for some people. So it says here, King Mswati had SEX and gave me 100,000 cash after approaching him for a scholarship. Okay, so this girl said that she needed a scholarship, approached the king, but the king had demanded some favors before he gave her the money. But the weird thing is who this girl is to the king. This story comes from where? Swaziland News. Okay, so Sivikelwe Mjongile, the granddaughter of Prince Kuduza, has alleged that King Mswati took advantage of her while she was only 17. Remember, you guys, remember, I just said that if you are a 58-year-old and you are taking a 21-year-old, the world is looking at you like, how young would you go? Okay? And if you keep going younger and younger and younger, trust me, there is a BBC documentary already, you know, already. Pele BBC documentaries work, they work on those documentaries for years. Okay, so they're already working on it. Okay, the next thing we see the wives saying, I didn't even know I was getting married, I was just standing, that kind of stuff, because the world looks at these things as weird, even though today we accept them, even though I don't understand why we do. Okay, so she says that she was only 17 years and had SCX with her as she was desperate to secure a scholarship. Like, she's clear, you guys, she's not claiming any R or anything like that, but that happened, she says. Sivikelwe Mjongile, who was born in 2004, is the daughter of the late African National Congress Western Cape Provincial Secretary Songezo Madiba Jongile and Princess Nolwandle Dlamini, the daughter of Prince Kuduza, who is the current chairman of the Eswatini Mineral Board. It is alleged that in 2022, Sivikelwe Mjongile first approached Mswati's protocol officer, Prince Baya, and asked him to introduce her to the king, whom she knew as a brother to her grandfather, Prince Kuduza. Okay, the first meeting was held at Ludzizini Palace. Hey guys, phela isiswati nesizulu manje mangithi dzidzi ngathi ngizosho inhlamvu. Anyway, but instead of offering a scholarship as requested, King allegedly had SAX with Sivikelo, and after finishing the SAX encounter, presented her with 100,000 rands cash and subsequently kept her as his lipovel. Now, for me, what was confusing is the fact that she says that she was under the impression that the king was the brother to her grandfather. So your brother's grandchildren are your grandchildren, in most African cultures. Okay, so are you initiating an SEX encounter with your grandchild? I don't get it. In Swatini, Lipovela is a girlfriend to the king who might become his next wife. The investigative journalist is in possession of private pictures, including where the cash allegedly presented by the king was placed on top of the sheets inside the room where the Eswatini king allegedly had SAX with the granddaughter of his brother. You see what I was saying there? I was confused because I thought siyafana. Thina isihlobo sakho, yo, mhlawumbe iy'nkomo eziwu-56 sewuxolisa emadlozini. But some of the private pictures cannot be released to the public. They were provided to this journalist by a source we trust as backup evidence to substantiate the story. Because, of course, if you're going to write stories like this about kings, you must be ready with evidence because they might just sue you. Rich for comments on Monday evening, Sivikelwe Mjongile confirmed that her family was arranging with the king to have her married to the monarch as the next wife. This is another thing, you guys. So So I was like, no, then it must be a thing emaswatini because her family was wanting her to move ahead and marry the king. Because why are they not throwing a tantrum that the king has done this to their daughter? Okay. As a result, Sifikole said she ran away to her boyfriend in South Africa, thank you, who is born from the Bele monarchy. Okay. How come labantu bayazana bona ebukhosini? Hey, batholakala lapha amadoda asebukhosini, guys. Anisho phela nginama-singles la on my channel so they can find them. You know, worth noting, Sivekelo Mjungina is now pregnant, and a close source told the publication that King Mswati is not the father, and that is a good thing because she will be having a child with her grandfather. Okay. She is happy with her Ndebele royal boyfriend. The source said Sivikelwe had no intention of marrying the king, but was young and only in need of a scholarship, but she was taken advantage of. She was young with no intention of being with him in the first place. She wanted a scholarship. You can talk to her. She is expecting your call, and maybe depending on your discussion, she will confirm the other things, said the source who connected this journalist with the alleged former kings, Lipovela. In one of the pictures, King Kuduza is seen with the granddaughter Sivikelwe Mjongile in Ludzidzini Palace at Ludzidzini Palace during the current Umhlanga ceremony. Sivikelwe was wearing amakwalakwala, and other pictures show her dancing in front of the members of the royal family like other previous Amapovela. Responding to the Swaziland news on the subject matter, King Mswati spokesperson Percy Smelane said he was only responsible for the king's public face, not the private dealings. Hence, he will not know who the monarch had crossed paths with away from the public eye. It is the public face of the king that is our area of interest and not his private dealings. It has been disclosed that while being kept as Lipovela, Sivikelwe Mjongile was aware of Momcebo Zuma. So maybe she was supposed to be the 16th wife and then Nomcebo 17, but then since she ran away, Nomcebo ended up preparing to be the 16th wife. The current king's Lipovela, who will soon become Swati's 16th wife. Okay, but the close source told the journalist that Nomcebo was supposed to be married by one of Swati's sons. However, the king subsequently changed his mind and developed interest in having the daughter of the former South African president Jacob Zuma as his next wife. This is the thing that makes me ask the question: does Nomcebo know that as she is standing there as the king's Lipovela, not the son's Lipovela? Because here they say the intention was for her to marry the son. The problem started after Sivikelwe left the room where she was kept and fled to her boyfriend in South Africa. The king is very angry and then replaced her with Nomcebo Zuma as Lipovela, the source said. King Mswati, an absolute monarch and polygamist with over 15 wives, is highly expected to marry Nomcebo Zuma, the daughter of former South African President Jacob Zuma. Yo, guys, I hope Guti Nomcebo is willingly doing this because I think it would be sad if she isn't. The sun is coming. She's like, I hope that she is willing and willingly participating because yes, she's an adult, so if she wants to, she can do it. So I just hope that there isn't anything like some manipulation that's taking place there. But how can you move from being you were supposed to marry a son and now you're marrying a father? How does that happen? Anyway, guys, please go into the comment section and tell me what you think about this. Like the video before Pumagona, share it with your friends, with your family, and even with strangers. Give me tanda kakhulu. Siningi Swazi.